The warning sirens echoed through the steel corridors of Station Omega-7, their piercing wail cutting through the artificial atmosphere like a blade through silence. Commander Elena Vasquez stared at the crimson emergency lights painting the walls in blood-red shadows, her heart hammering against her ribs. The impossible had happened, their last hope was dying, and with it, the future of humanity itself. For 3 years, Elena had served aboard the Deep Space Research Station, watching Earth's final colony ship construction from the safety of the void. The blue marble that had once been humanity's cradle now lay beneath a toxic shroud of volcanic ash and chemical storms. The Great Collapse had claimed everything, cities, nations, dreams, leaving only this single chance for survival. Station Omega-7 housed the most brilliant minds humanity could offer, tasked with completing the ARC project before their dying world could no longer sustain life. The quantum drive is failing, Dr. Marcus Chen announced, his voice barely audible over the alarms. His weathered face reflected years of sleepless nights and impossible calculations. We're losing power across all primary systems. Elena felt the familiar weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders like a lead blanket. She had been chosen to lead not because she was the smartest or strongest, but because she possessed something rarer than genius, the ability to act when others hesitated. Every moment of hesitation is a moment stolen from tomorrow, she whispered to herself, remembering her grandmother's words. The control room buzzed with frantic activity as scientists and engineers scrambled to diagnose the catastrophic failure. Through the massive viewport, Elena could see the half-constructed colony ship floating in the darkness, its skeletal frame a monument to human ambition. Millions of people on Earth were counting on them to finish what they had started. "Commander," called Dr. Sarah Kim from the engineering console, her young face pale with terror. "The fusion core is destabilizing. We have maybe 6 hours before complete system failure." "Fear is just courage waiting for its moment to shine," Elena said, her voice cutting through the chaos. She moved to the central command station, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. "What are our options?" Dr. Chen shook his head grimly. "The quantum drive requires a complete rebuild. Even with our best teams working around the clock, we're looking at minimum 2 weeks. We don't have that kind of time." Elena's mind raced through possibilities, each one more desperate than the last. The station's population of 800 souls represented humanity's greatest scientific achievement, geneticists. Engineers, physicists, and philosophers who had dedicated their lives to ensuring the species' survival. "When the universe says no, we must find a way to say yes louder," she muttered. A junior technician named Alex Rodriguez spoke up from the back of the room. "Commander, there might be another way. The experimental quantum tether in Lab 7, if we could somehow jury-rig it to the main drive." "That's theoretical at best," Dr. Chen interrupted. "The power requirements alone would." "Would what?" Elena demanded. "Kill us. We're already dead if we don't try. Sometimes the only way out is through the impossible." The room fell silent except for the relentless sirens. Elena saw the doubt in their eyes, the fear that had paralyzed so many before them. She understood that feeling, the crushing weight of knowing that failure meant not just personal death, but the extinction of everything they had ever loved. "Listen to me," Elena said, her voice rising above the alarms. "Down there on Earth, children are looking up at the stars and wondering if tomorrow will come. Parents are holding their babies, praying for miracles they'll never see. We are their miracle. We are their tomorrow." She moved through the room, making eye contact with each person. "I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. Every great achievement in human history started with someone saying, 'What if,' when everyone else said, 'Impossible.'" Dr. Kim wiped tears from her eyes. "The quantum tether has never been tested at full capacity. It could create a cascade failure that destroys the station. Then we'll die trying," Elena replied firmly. "But we'll die as humans who refuse to surrender." The graveyard of dreams is filled with those who waited for perfect conditions. Alex stepped forward, his young face determined. I'll help with the modifications. My grandfather always said, the greatest risk is not taking any risk at all. One by one, the team began to nod. Dr. Chen sighed deeply, then rolled up his sleeves. Your dreams don't have expiration dates unless you give them one, he said. Let's save humanity. The next few hours blurred together in a symphony of sparks, calculations, and desperate improvisation. Elena coordinated teams across the station, her voice becoming hoarse from shouting instructions over the failing communication systems. Progress is impossible without change, and change is impossible without action, she reminded them when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm their efforts. In Lab 7, Alex and his team worked with religious fervor, their hands moving like skilled surgeons as they rebuilt the quantum tether. Sweat poured down their faces as they rerouted power conduits and recalibrated electromagnetic fields. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to give up, Alex said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. With 2 hours remaining, the modifications were complete. The jury-rigged quantum tether hummed with unstable energy, its jury-rigged connections held together by nothing more than hope and determination. Elena stood in the command center, her finger hovering over the activation switch. Commander, Dr. Chen said quietly, the probability of success is less than 30%. Elena smiled grimly. Then we'll make our own probability. Success isn't about the odds, it's about the will to keep fighting when the odds are against you. She pressed the switch. The station shuddered as power surged through the makeshift connections. Sparks flew from overloaded circuits, and the lights flickered like dying stars. For a terrifying moment, Elena thought they had failed. Then, slowly, the quantum drive began to respond. It's working. Dr. Kim shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. Power levels are stabilizing. Through the viewport, Elena watched as the colony ship's construction systems came back online. Robotic arms resumed their delicate work, adding layer upon layer to humanity's future home. The sight was beautiful enough to bring tears to her eyes. As the immediate crisis passed, Elena found herself alone in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The weight of their accomplishment settled over her like a warm blanket. They had done it, not through superior technology or perfect planning, but through the simple act of refusing to surrender. Commander, Alex approached, his young face glowing with pride. The colony ship will be ready for launch in 3 weeks. We actually did it. Elena nodded, her heart full of quiet satisfaction. We did. And we did it because we chose to act when action seemed impossible. Remember this moment, Alex. Remember that the difference between dreamers and achievers is the willingness to take that first step into the unknown. As she watched the colony ship take shape against the star-filled backdrop, Elena knew that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. They had proven that even in the darkest moments, hope could survive if people were willing to fight for it. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, she whispered to the cosmos. The stars seemed to wink in agreement, as if the universe itself was applauding their courage.